2020, what a year, huh? It's been a pretty challenging one to say the least, and I've definitely got to say it was a very soul-searching year, a year full of soul-searching for me. It was a year full of ups and downs, I think, for a lot of people, and the highs were high and the lows were low. The year actually started off on a really great note. Last December 31st, 2019, I got engaged to my beautiful fiance down in Florida when we were visiting my parents there. And obviously that set off a great starting tone for 2020. And we came back to Toronto and we started taking care of my grandfather, who actually moved into a new retirement home just up the street from me. So I was going to see him every day. My fiance was going and taking care of him and doing activities with him. And everything was looking good. And unfortunately, on March 11th, his birthday, his 91st birthday, my grandfather passed away. My mom's dad passed away. And the next day, the world kind of imploded. March 12th was like the day that the world shut down due to COVID, and it was like trauma on trauma. It was, didn't know how to deal with the world without my grandfather, and then I didn't know how to deal with the world after we were all thrown into this new paradigm of everything being shut down and locked down, and that was really, really mentally super tough to power through this year. And then obviously that makes you think about, am I going to have a business to run? Am I going to be able to pay my bills? Am I going to be able to put food on the table? What does life look like after all of this? Or how do you get through all of this? And there's so many businesses that were affected this year, and it sucked to see so many businesses that I care about go under or have to shut down drastically. Like my jitsu school that I was absolutely in love with, they were forced to shut down because gyms and things of that nature couldn't operate. The upside of that not being able to go to my jiu-jitsu was that it did start my cycling career again. And I started road cycling. So in August, I set a challenge for myself to ride from Toronto to Niagara Falls with my best friend. So I had a month to train from the middle of August to September 19th when we did our trip, which was a 165-kilometer ride. It took us 10 hours to complete, but we made it. And that was a pretty great accomplishment, and it was just nice to have something that was a physical exertion this year, a goal that wasn't confined to these walls due to COVID. And it was great to hang out with my best friend and complete a challenge that I really didn't think was possible. Riding 165 kilometers in one day with very little experience was pretty awesome. And that kind of led me to really loving cycling and indoor cycling specifically. You can see my setup here is where I do my Zwifting now, which is like a virtual world where you can ride in. And with that indoor riding and my outdoor riding, I'll finish this year with 3,000 kilometers ridden, about 22,000 meters of elevation climbed, and 115 hours, 120 hours of total riding. And that's just within 3 months. And that's been really awesome because I love to see the growth on that side of my physical activity and my endurance and my strength go up. And that's led me into really wanting to have a healthy work-life balance going into 2021. And it's something that I think is very important. I think it's something that a lot of us really put as a feature that we want in our lives going forward as a result of COVID. I think we've all kind of taken a step back out of the rat race a little bit and reassess things. And I think that's actually a good thing. And that goes into appreciating the family and friends that you are able to see and engage with safely. And it will be super nice to be able to kind of reconnect with all the friends and clients and stuff once all this COVID stuff is over. Hopefully that's in 2021. And yeah, so on the business side of things, it was a pretty exciting year, obviously full of ups and downs as well. But the biggest upside there is that we launched Toronto Luxury Condos and Homes.com, and I'm super proud of this. This is my baby. This is something that I've developed from the ground up, and I really really love what the site has turned into, and I hope you go and check it out and start searching. Even if you're not in the market for a luxury property, just kind of cool to go and look at expensive homes for sale. So yeah, go and take a look at that. And we also launched our 100 trees planting program this year. So for every home that we help buy or sell, we planted 100 trees through the Trees Canada Foundation. So ended up with 1,000 trees planted this year. So that's doing better for our air a little bit. And yeah, we really have to thank our past success clients this year who continue to really stand by us by using us to buy another home or sell their home or refer off a friend to come and work with us. So yeah, we really saw a big change in the market this year. COVID drastically changed the landscape of Toronto real estate almost overnight. There were so many different little factors going into this, but it really comes down to that there's kind of polar opposite markets going on right now. We have the housing market, which has gone absolutely insane anywhere in Toronto and the greater Toronto area, areas like Richmond Hill, Markham, Etobicoke, Mississauga, Scarborough, Durham. Those kinds of areas have seen explosive growth this year as a result of people wanting to change their living lifestyle, because most people are living, working, educating, and exercising from home now, whereas they would have been commuting into an office to do that before. So we've seen a huge uptick in demand for people wanting more space, and they don't necessarily need to stay in downtown core to do that because of the remote working that a lot of companies have embraced as a result of COVID. And it's kind of funny because the downtown homes, like the ones in the downtown core, are actually not performing as well as they have been for the past 5 years. So there's actually a little bit of an opportunity there where prices have softened, but we're seeing huge increases in areas like the Beaches, East York, High Park, Roncesvalles. Those were hot neighborhoods anyways, but they've just gone into super overdrive now. On the converse side, the condo market is even more polarized. The condos, the 2 and 3 bed condos, have actually done very well for the same reason that the houses have done well, being that people want more space, and not everyone necessarily wants to go and live in a home or can even afford it, or both. So there's definitely a lot of people looking for larger condos. We've seen a big uptick in demand for older condos that have like over 1,000 or 1,500 square feet as basically secondary options to a house that would give you similar square footage but actually much more manageable. And we're seeing a lot of people that are downsizing do that transition. The part of the condo market that has seen a big negative impact is the bachelor and 1 bed units. The small units that are like 300, 400, under 500 square feet, basically. Not many people are wanting those right now because the big demand for those before was actually from Airbnb, because they could be rented off on Airbnb and make pretty good money. But they're not really great rental units if you want to live in them the full time. Like, you can adapt to it, but I would say, especially with this new paradigm of people being there all the time, being confined to one room basically for your whole day is not very appealing to most people right now. But again, there are some people that does work for. So we're seeing these very, very contradicting markets within, like, sometimes it's street by street, building by building, neighborhood by neighborhood. It really breaks down. So yeah, really, really crazy market that we've seen throughout the year, and it will look like this will continue going into 2021. Unless something drastic changes and like everyone starts going back into the office tomorrow, we're probably going to be getting even more used to this new criteria of people needing space to exercise, work, educate, and just live from home. So they're going to continue to need more space. So this trend will likely continue going into 2021. However, there is a chance that the downtown market might start seeing a bit of an uptick come probably the summer next year, because if we do have a good rollout of the vaccine in the first part of 2021, It might instill a bit more confidence for people to live in the downtown core again. And once that inventory is gone, it's pretty much going to be sealed back up to the levels that it was before. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, it's impossible to predict all of this stuff. Things are changing day to day. But there is that possibility going forward. So without a doubt, the sector that has seen the biggest impact has been the condo rental sector. It got hit like a missile. It was super, super bad because, as I mentioned before, there was all of those bachelor and one-bed units that were being used for Airbnb. When Airbnb got shut down from COVID restrictions earlier this year, and we stopped getting international travelers or even domestic travelers, the demand completely dried up, again, almost overnight. So we saw a flooding of units come onto the rental market. So we're actually seeing rental prices that are more similar to what we were seeing in 2016 and 2017 than what we were seeing in 2019 and 2020. And that's basically what happened in 2020. It was a crazy year, to say the least. It was a year of a lot of growth, a lot of challenges. But in that growth and challenge, you find new parts of yourself, you explore, you innovate. And I think that's what we can be so proud of, is how fast our society has adapted to this. It's not perfect, absolutely, but I would say that there is hope going forward, and the real estate market is gonna stay strong, because at the end of the day, if people can't travel, if they can't go and spend their money at stores, they're going to be saving, and they're going to want to spend it on something, and the place that they're spending all of their time is their home, right? So they're either going to improve it, and that's why we've seen a massive uptick in demand for renovations, and we've also seen a lot of people just wanting more space, and that's not likely to go away anytime soon. So I'll keep you guys updated as 2021 goes along. It will be an interesting year, to say the least. But yeah, I wanted to thank each and every one of you that have supported us in our business throughout the year. I wanted to thank all of my family and friends for being absolutely amazing, for being there in these tough times. And yeah, if you have any questions, concerns, anything about the Swift setup, the real estate market, anything like that, feel free to leave it in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Bye.